Hello again, more plastering. Looking up at the ceiling now. Look at that hair. Look at that little bit, look like a chicken. We're having it cut tomorrow. Not that that takes long. Look. Anyway, back to the plastering. So I shall show you what's going on today. Another fairly straightforward day. I just spin the camera around and show you what's going on. So we've got this little box room. Nice and simple, really. They're not keeping that. This was the previous owners. It's not bad, is it? It's not a sticker, it's someone's painted that. Very nice dear, very nice. So anyway, this little box room to be done. Then this is what was done yesterday. Then I've got to do the old angle on the staircase. I did the lounge ceiling before Christmas, and then I've got this little porch here, this little porchway, and you've got a dodgy old bit of wall here. Not that I previously did before anyone says anything. So they just want that skimmed up and just blended in just underneath the electric box. So that's the job today. What I tend to do when I'm scraping Artex, I'll usually, if I can, if the floor's laminate like this, I won't put a dust sheet down. I'll just scrape the Artex that falls onto that. Then I'll have a good sweep up and a hoover up. Then I'll put my dust sheets down. The reason for that is, if you've got dust sheets down and all this crap falls on your dust sheets, then you get maybe a bit of PVA goes on it, and then you drop a bit of plaster and you step in that. You're walking this everywhere. The last thing you want is to be trailing this about the house. So that's what I do. Unless I've got Cordeck down, you know, I'll obviously put Cordeck down first and then just sweep that. But I'll never start plastering until all this stuff is completely swept up. Otherwise you really are making a rod for your own back. There we go. Nice neat little pile. And that's all that crap out the way then. So you're starting from a fresh job again then. You're just basically coming in, PVA in the ceiling or SBR, whatever you prefer, strawberry jam, wipe your windowsills off, get all this crap completely gone, get it in the bucket and get it out of the way, and then we're good to go. Fresh as a bee. So when I'm PVAing, I do like to use these brushes with this sort of dog leg, this kick on it, because it's got a long handle, so you can go around the tops. I'll just show you if I can. You can brush in all along your tops, and you do want to do this with a brush. Don't just go up to it with a roller, because you really want to get in them corners. But these are great because you can do that all off the floor. And if your ceiling is like a normal height, you can do that all off the floor. You haven't got to be walking around on hop-ups. Right, so while the PVA is drying, just a couple of words really. If you are enjoying any of this, if you think I'm not a bad fella, please consider liking and subscribing to this. It won't always be plastering, there'll be other things. Do lots of decorating, bit of fencing, bit of woodwork, mostly plastering. Even some silly stuff if I'm in the mood. Might be a few impressions, me dressing up as some ridiculous characters. Just got a little creative streak in me, which these GoPro cameras have allowed it to be released really. Always been a bit of a technology geek. I spent a lot of time making music, doing remixes, Been doing that sort of thing for the last 20 years. Do a bit of DJing with a couple of friends as well, but this is my day job and I enjoy that just as much as any of the rest of it. So if you do want to follow me, come along and start this little thing with me. I've got 95 subscribers at the minute. I'd love to see that go up a bit. Any comments, any likes you can do on the buttons really helps YouTube push this video around further. It's just how it works. If it's getting attention, it will keep chucking it out further and further, so more and more people see it. Anyway, that's enough begging from me, but if you could do it, much appreciated. Thank you. Now, if we're going to learn how to do this, let's get some good habits pretty quickly. Now, before you start mixing, and when you do mix your plaster, believe me, it will splatter all out of the remit of that bucket, all up a wall, which sometimes you're not plastering the wall, so you don't really want that. So good practice just to get a bit of this stuff, the sort of tape on a masking roll, and just put it across there. There you go, you can mix up all day long now and not worry about splashes. I shall stick on a little time lapse while I chuck this little sucker on. Right, so I've just put this ceiling on, this little ceiling. This wall, there's a little extra. And I put this bit as you come up the stairs. And that little room that I was in earlier. And I mixed up the stuff quite wet because I wanted to get it all on in one here. There we go. And I've just chucked that on as well. I'll flatten that in a second. And yeah, like I said, I mixed it up quite wet because I want to try and get the second coat on with the same batch. So onwards and upwards. And sometimes when I'm going over Artex, to break tradition, I do like to put it on with a plastic trowel. They don't seem to find the Artex as much as a steel trowel does. Steel trowel can sort of, it's hard to explain really, it's a feel that you get. But the steel trowel will, it's just doesn't ride over the Artex as well as the plastic one. And I know that probably means that the plastic one is riding the ripples, but you pick it up with a second coat anyway. But there's just something about these plastic ones, it's a different sort of feel you get from. Right. Okay, so we've got 2 coats and a couple of trowels on these ceilings. Like I said, I chucked them all on at once and then just run around and like a madman. Not for the faint-hearted, 4 areas at once. But you just want to get home, don't you? So just sort of giving them a second or third trowel up now. So I'm on with the Nella. I think it's just like a medium flex, this trowel. It's not a real bendy flex. I quite like these flexi trowels. They're a bit more forgiving, especially on these ceilings that have just never been skimmed. These ceilings have just been boarded and Artex, so they're all over the place really. So when they're like that, it's just a case of making them smooth rather than flat, because you don't really notice it from down below anyway, as long as it's smooth. As long as all your edges are looking good. Little brushing now. So yeah, she'll carry on trailing this up, and then I'll take you downstairs to the other bits. I'll tidy all these edges up. Don't judge me on the edges. When you're trying to get a load on, and you're literally running about like a headless chicken, I don't tend to worry too much about these edges as I'm going along, because you can always tickle them after. You can always go along with your trowel, or even the little corner trowel sometimes runs along nice. Yeah, so just give this another little go over. Get it all under control. That's what plastering is really. It's like a job of two halves. You go mad at the first bit and you're getting it on, and sometimes if you want a great big ceiling obble, your heart will be beating at your chest. And then you come to a point where you're just chilling out, wanting it to go off a bit quicker really. Sometimes you're hanging about for it. So it's got its good and bad plastering, but the more you can get on, obviously the quicker you get home. None of us want to be at work longer than we have to be. So that's that bit. Now we move down to this bit here, which I think this is ready to be cut off now. Sometimes I'll put an angle bead, like a stop end bead on these, but a lot of time you don't need them really. Just wasting your money. And they can be a pain in the arse as well, them stop end beads, if they don't want to sit straight. You end up with like a bit of a ridge on it. So, quick trail up on this. Just brushing the edges in. Bring it out and down. Just really bringing it all together for a polish. And then we've got, this can be cut off. I didn't go too mad over the top of this because it's recently plastered and decorated that ceiling. Now into this one. Again, same old procedure. Just going over what we've already been over. Just getting it nice and smooth. And you do have a lot more time than what you think with plaster really. You can just chuck a bit of water on and bring things back to life, but good old spotlight in the eyes. Like a spaceship that one, ain't it? So yeah, just a little bit of water on the brush. You don't need tons. You don't need to start, flicking it and chucking water everywhere. Just a light rub on it. And then we've got this bit round on this wall, which this wall is going off a lot slower than the ceiling. So, mind you, I put about 3 coats of PVR on this wall. So I'll get all them edges with my trowel later on in a minute. And that's it, just brush them edges in, keep them nice and wet. Don't hit the wall with your GoPro. And that's it. That's the GoPro dig gone. This wall was everywhere. They just literally at the last minute said to me, could you just tidy the wall up as a little extra? But I won't charge them, I'm here anyway. I know we're all here to make money, but they're a nice young couple and they've just not long bought this house, so you don't want to be fleecing them for every penny. It's not going to take me no longer to do this bit of wall. This area, if I didn't do the wall, it's still going to take me that long to do that ceiling, so they can have this one on me. And if you do little things like that, it always comes back good. Believe me, they'll recommend you for the things like that. That's what I've learnt over the years. Just do a little bit for nothing every now and then if it's not going to cost you. And people will always recommend you. And that's kept me busy for, I don't know, years and years now. Anyway, that's them bits done. I shall carry on polishing up and just give you a walk round at the last bit of it once it's all cleared up. So when I'm finishing and I'm doing edges and things, two things I like to keep with me all the time in my back pocket is one of these little plastic spatches, which you can get a pack of about 6 different sizes off Amazon, only cheap. And these corner trowels, these little ox corner trowels. I like these because I've only got shallow wings. I've never liked the corner trowels which flare right out. I've never really got to grips with them, and I've been plastering for, I don't know, since the 80s. But I've never liked them ones that come out in the wings. They always, whenever you run them in, they always seem to damage, cut a line down there. Whether that's just that my plaster isn't dead straight or not, but I'm not worried about that. They just seem to damage. But these don't. These just stay within the area that you really need to work on, which it's a corner trowel. We only want to get our corner right there. We don't want to be worrying about bringing it right out here. So just keep one of these in your pocket, and it's just great. I just do that. They push right into the corners. They just drag through. They just save all that hard work trying to get the edge of a trowel in there, do you know? And sometimes the trowel is just too cumbersome for it, really. I think it's just a better tool for that job. And it sort of drags all the snots off the side as well, so it's a win-win situation. I say it's a win-win, Ashley. It's a win-win. There you go. It just does what it's meant to do. And as for these little things here, these are great when it comes to little things like this, these little awkward bits around the lights. Sometimes you don't want a big trowel on it, so as your plaster's going, you can just tuck that in there and just finish that inside bit. Of course they're plastic as well, so you're not going to get a bolt off any wires, I don't think. Don't trust me on that, but yeah, so they're good for things like that. Great round, you know, switches, light switches, all sorts of things. They're just nice little bit of plastic. Can sometimes be better than a bit of metal on the plaster. So yeah, just another little thing I always do. Let's carry on with these edges. I'm not sure how much of this I will keep showing or cutting. I'm just filming at the minute. I'm just getting used to having this camera on my head, giving you all the same view as me. I don't know if it's if it makes for good watching for you, or if you're learning anything from it. Hopefully you are. Hopefully you find it therapeutic. And it'll inspire some of you to have a go. Always get yourself a good trowel, a main trowel. Don't just buy some £5 or £6 one off Amazon or a crappy cheapy Wix's own brand. Always spend a bit of money on the trowel. You'll definitely benefit from that. You'll find it hard if you are just about to start doing something plastering and you've got a real crappy trowel. It will just make you think that plastering is really hard and impossible. But like everything, if you've got the right tools, the good tools, it will help you out on the way. I mean, plastering is hard, don't get me wrong. Physically it's very hard. Technically it's just really spreading the material on the wall. But it's not impossible. I wouldn't say I'm a mega skilled person. I've got no special talent really. I've just been doing this so long that it's just second nature. And we all started somewhere. I started generally in cupboards and toilets. That was where I got put when I was young. Right, go and plaster that toilet, go and plaster that cupboard. And that's how you learn really. But you get there in the end. Can you see how this don't look too closely at that, it looks terrible in there, but it will look good. You see how it gets right in them corners? I'll polish all that out, but yeah, it just pushes it in so you get a nice decent line down there. And then see, I've got this in my back pocket now. I can take the waste off of that and tuck that into there. Because the waste is the good stuff, because that is drying at the same rate as everything else. So you can just keep that, using that, the old waste, or the old pudding, as we used to say. Or did we? Or am I just making it up? So yeah, that was just all them little bits that you was maybe sort of worried about. You can always catch these at the end. Don't worry too much about getting all this stuff first time. Just worry about getting your ceiling covered. And then any little corners and things, you know, you can even tuck these right in, like, and pull the corners out lovely and square and sharp. I find them better than the trowel, to be honest. Much better than the trowel. It's just more of a natural angle for your hand than that. With a trowel trying to get into a corner with your hand like that, you're fighting against your own body. You've got something like that, you're just there. I'm sure some plasterers will sort of say, oh, you should be able to do it with a trowel. Yeah, and I can do it with a trowel, but it's easier with this. I could eat soup with a fork, but it's easy with a spoon. So I keep making these food analogies. I do like my food. But it's something we can all relate to, isn't it? Eating, so. Anyway, I think you've probably heard enough of me, and the crap that's going on in my head is coming out of my mouth now. And yes, so I just wanted to show you about these little methods for finishing these edges, because they're the bits that stand out. It's not really, you know, people will walk in and they'll look at the ceiling. If the edges ain't good, they'll be drawn straight to them. There we have it, another day done. That's this job finished now. Wiped all the tops of the walls down, leave it nice and tidy. Floors all clean, ready to dry out. Just turn the light off up here. That's it. Same down there. All clean and tidy. They are going to be painting all the walls, so I've just done what I needed to, really. All clean and tidy out. Looking good, looking good. That's it, another one done. Okay, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe or give me a thumbs up and all that palaver. And hopefully I'll see you again. Bye bye.